warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to a new week, definitely new things. So basically for this week, it is a continuation from where we stopped last week. Still Microsoft Excel, alright? So if you guys remember last week, we prepared a table and then we used a few formulas, for instance, minimum, maximum, average, and then I also showed you guys on how to prepare graph, okay, bar chart, line graph, whatnot. So for today's lecture, what we are going to do is basically, it is something practical. It is called loan amortization table. So let me type it in. Alright, for instance, here Excel, if let's say you want to put in another row, so you can highlight and then right click and then insert. Click insert. There you go. You have new row. So today this is what we're going to do. Let's say you want it to be in the center. You can highlight the tables and then you can go to home and merge and center. Click merge and center. So this is what we call loan amortization table. Alright, so this is what we're going to do this week. So you can customize as usual, make it bigger if you want to. Okay, loan amortization table. So this is what we're going to do this week. So what is loan amortization table? So basically, when you go to the bank and then you borrow money, okay, you can ask your parents when they buy the house, the car, or even simply personal loan, definitely they have to pay back the bank normally on monthly basis. So they have to pay on monthly basis, okay, because you borrow money from the bank. So for this week lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to look at how much you really pay back the bank. If let's say you borrow 500,000 ringgit, is it at the end of the time you pay back the bank 500,000 ringgit? Definitely the answer is no, because we know it, when we borrow money from the bank, there is interest, all right, other interest, there is interest charge on the loan amount. So basically, when you borrow money from the bank, definitely at the end of the tenure, at the end of the time, you are basically paying more to the bank. So if you borrow 500,000 ringgit from the bank, you might be paying back 700,000 ringgit to the bank, 800,000 ringgit to the bank, or even more than 1 million ringgit to the bank. So imagine borrowing 500,000 ringgit but ended up paying back to the bank 1 million ringgit. So that is what we will be looking at this week. So for me, this week's lesson is very, very practical, and you can share whatever outcome we have today with your parents, with your siblings, for instance, so that they can better understand what is the impact of timing and what is the impact of interest rate on the payment, all right? So for instance, if you pay back 10 years, what is the impact or what is the differences between paying back to the bank for 10 years or 25 years, for instance? Because we know that when we borrow money from bank to buy a house, for instance, so housing loan is special because the maximum number of years, it can goes up to 35 years. So you can pay back to the bank up to 35 years, okay? Because housing loan, fixed asset, very, very huge asset. So definitely it takes a lot of time for us to pay back bank, okay? So what is the impact of timing on the payment? So that is what we will be looking at this week. And I hope that you can learn a lot of things from today's class. And your third individual assignment is on this topic, loan amortization table. So I really hope that after watching this video, you will be able to produce one loan amortization table and complete the assignment, your third individual assignment. And yes, this is very, very interesting and practical. And as usual, if you have questions, whatnot, you can always reach me after this, okay? So when it comes to loan amortization, one more time, this is when you make payment to the bank. So we are trying to look at what is the payment behavior. So every month when you pay, what is the principal amount, what is the interest amount, what is the impact of timing on the payment, all right, what is the impact of interest rate on the payment. So this is something what we'll be looking at, and this file will be further uploaded later. You can download this file and then you can play around with this file on your own, all right, to better understand today's lesson. So when it comes to monthly payment calculation here, this is the formula. Alright, you can get this formula from the internet. So this is the formula. P equal to R times PV divided by 1 minus 1 plus R to the power of negative N. So what is P? Our objective for today, payment. So this is something that we will be looking at today. The one we will be calculating today, payment. So how to calculate payment? Payment equal to R times PV. What is R? R is the rate per period. So R here, it is actually your interest rate. So your interest rate. So R is your interest rate times PV. What is PV? PV is the present value or simply the original loan amount. Okay? So PV here is the original loan amount. So if you borrow money from the bank, let's say 500,000 ringgit, so PV will be 500,000 ringgit. So I repeat, PV is the original loan amount. So R times PV, you need to divide it by with 1 minus 1 plus R to the power of negative N. Still R the same, the interest rate, and then to the power of negative N. What is N? N in statistic, in mathematics, it means total. Alright? So total number of period. So for how many times will you make the payment? In Malay, awak akan bayar balik berapa kali? For instance, if let's say you pay for 5 years, and in 1 year, there are 12 months, right? Because normally, if you guys remember just now, I mentioned to you, when we pay back to the bank, it is normally on monthly basis. Okay? Here, monthly, every month. So, if in 1 year, there are 12 months, so 12 times 5 years, how many times plus? Equal to 60. So your N will be 60 because you're making payment 60 times. Alright, so depending on the question, we'll be looking at it later. Okay, so I have already provided you with an example. Okay, so let us walk through the example. Let's say you buy a house. And let's say the house is valued at 500,000 ringgit. So let's say you borrow money from the bank, loan amount, how much? 500,000 ringgit. 500,000 ringgit. For how long? For 15 years. Let's say you borrow money for 15 years. So we'll be looking at 15 years now. And after this, we'll be looking at what's the impact of borrowing money from the bank for, let's say, 20 years, 35 years. So this is something that we will be looking at later. So let's say you borrow money from the bank for 15 years. And then what about the payment basis? Definitely monthly basis. You need to see that you pay back to the bank on monthly basis, setiap bulan. So let's say the interest rate R is 5%. Okay, this is what the rate is. Rate is basically being charged to you by the bank. Bank will be the one charging you the interest rate. So whenever you go to the bank, different banks will be having different interest rate. Some bank give you higher interest rate. Some bank give you lower interest rate. It depends on your luck because they have different mechanism on determining what interest rate should be charged on you. Alright, so different people will be getting different interest rate actually. So let's say the interest rate is 5% on yearly basis. So what is the PV? Okay, definitely PV is 500,000 ringgit. Alright, PV is 500,000 ringgit. Here, 500,000 ringgit. What about R? R is the interest rate, 5%. So 5% is equivalent to 5 divided by 100. Okay, remember class, when you perform mathematical equation, you start with equal sign, equal to 5 divided by 100. There you go. You get 0.05. But this R, okay, this R is for 1 year. Okay, so let's say this R is for 1 year. So this is yearly. You have to make it monthly because if you guys remember, you make payment on monthly basis. Here, you make payment on monthly basis. So this is for 1 year. How to make it for monthly basis? Remember class, in 1 year, there are 12 months. So 0.05 here, you divide it with 12. There you go. You get 0.00416667. So this is monthly. Okay. The one we want. Okay. Bold and then make it rate, for instance. So this is the interest rate for 1 month because you are making payment on monthly basis. So the rate is 5% here. So now it becomes 0.05 for 1 year. And then definitely the monthly rate will be 0.04166667. So when you download this file letter, don't worry because whatever you have, you can change. So let's say it is not 5 years. So let's say it becomes, let's say 2.5, okay? 2.5% or 3% here. So this is basically 0.00. Okay, so let's say this is 2%, 2.5. Okay, oops, sorry, 2.5%, 2.5%. All right, so this is 2.5. Remember, divided by 100. So okay, so the setting, I need to change the setting. So class, let's say the interest rate is 2.5%. All right, so you can change the rate later when you download this file, when you share with your family members, for instance. Let's say the rate is 2.5%, so 2.5. Okay, here the rate will be 2.5% per year. All right, and what about the monthly basis? 0.0020883. It will be automatically updated. So let us stick with 5% just now, 5. So now it becomes 0.00416667 for monthly basis. Okay, the one our main highlight actually. All right, okay. What about n? If you guys remember just now, n, number of times payment being made. So number of periods. So you are making payment for 15 years. All right, correct? 15 years. All right, but you need it to be in months. Okay, because you want it to be in months. So how many months? Definitely in 1 year there are 12 months, right? So 15 years you times with 12 months. There you go. You get 180 months. So basically you will be making payment for 180 times. Awak akan buat bayaran balik. You are making payment for 180 times. In Malay, awak akan bayar bank sebanyak 180 kali. You are making payment for 180 months. So this is the formula. R. How much is your R, class? Remember, you have to take the monthly one, 0.00416667 here. Okay. What about PV? PV, don't forget, class. This is your PV. And then N. How much is your N? Remember, you have to take for the monthly here, 180 months. Let's make it bold and red as well so that we know. We take this one, 180 months. Okay, if you guys remember, the formula is this one, alright? So what you can do is actually to use the formula R times PV and then divided by 1 minus 1 plus R to the power of negative N here. So what you can do is actually, you can make it 1 by 1, okay? This will be given, so you just need to take the figure, alright, fully utilize it. So 1 plus R is equivalent to how much? Here, class. 1 plus R. And then you have 1 plus R to the power of negative N, right? So you have here. Okay, 1 plus R you already have. To the power of, when you use Excel, shift 6. Shift number 6, then you get to the power of negative, don't forget, negative N. So you click 180, simply click it. There you go. And then finally you have 1 minus 1 plus R to the power of N here. So you have 1 minus this figure, 1 plus R to the power of negative N. There you go, you get 0.52689 here, alright? So what about R plus R times PV? Simple, here, equal sign, R, you have R, times, remember class, Excel, times is shift 8, the small star, alright? Times R, okay, times PV, 500,000 ringgit here, There you go. You get 2083.3333, for instance. And then the denominator 1 minus r, 1 plus r to the power of negative n here. You already have it. So just equal sign. Take this figure straight away. And then remember, division. Alright? Division. So how to divide? Here, the numerator, the top, divided by, in Excel, division, slash, alright? Divided by the bottom part here. Click enter. So this is your monthly payment. So if you want it to be with 2 decimal points, because we know that when we use Excel, alright, you can change the formatting actually. And now you're making payment to the bank. So this is money. Do it. Alright, RM. So definitely RM, it should comes with 2 decimal points. Only 2. So what you can do is actually right click. Alright, right click. And then go for format cells. Here, format cells. And then number, 2 decimal points, yes, and then you can use separator, or you can go to currency, here RM, 2 decimal point as well, so you can click OK. There you go. So this is your monthly payment, RM 3,953,097 cent, almost 4,000 ringgit. So if let's say you buy a house, 500,000 ringgit, and then you pay back the bank for 15 years, so this is your monthly payment, almost 4,000 ringgit. Okay, class? And then we can change, okay? Definitely, for instance, okay, what happened if let's say the interest rate is 2.5 just now? Alright? So let's say if the interest rate is lower, see what's the impact? Your monthly payment will be reduced to 3,333. Okay, one more time. Here, if your interest rate is 5%, monthly payment almost 4,000 ringgit. But when your monthly payment is 2.5%, here, you'll notice that your monthly payment will be reduced. So when your interest rate is lower, definitely your monthly payment will be lower. So that's why you can ask your parent, if you don't believe me, when they borrow money from the bank, they will try their very best to get lowest interest rate. Because when they get the lower interest rate, it simply means that their monthly payment will be lower as well. Alright? So this is the payment amount. Alright? Okay, let us look at another impact. For instance, just showing you. So let's say if you borrow money from the bank, not for 15 years, okay? But let's say you borrow money from the banks for 35 years. Okay, let's say for 35 years, maximum amount, 35 years. So when you borrow money from the bank for 35 years, you'll notice that your interest rate, your monthly payment will be further reduced. One more time. If you borrow money for 15 years, monthly payment 3,300. But when you borrow money for 35 years, your monthly payment reduced by half, almost half, okay, more than half actually, 1,787. 1,787. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if you borrow money from the bank, you borrow for a longer period of time, your monthly payment, your monthly commitment will be lower. But if you borrow money from the bank, even for 10 years, for instance, shorter period of time, right? Because you want to pay faster. When you want to pay faster, look, your monthly payment will be higher. But just now 15 years, the normal one, 33333. Alright, so this is your monthly payment. So now the next part is I'm going to show you this. Okay, this is what we'll be looking at actually. Alright, your loan amortization table. So this is what we call loan amortization table. So let us prepare them from scratch. So let me prepare them from scratch. Okay, delete. Okay, so in order for you to prepare a loan amortization table, so let's see, I copied this cell. In order for you to prepare a loan amortization table, okay, you need month, beginning amount, payment, interest, principal, ending amount, percentage for interest, and percentage for principal. So you need to prepare them, all right? This, okay? These are items: month, beginning amount, payment, interest, principal, ending amount, percentage for interest, percentage for principal. All right, for month, how many months, class, just now? Let's say for 180 months. So loan amortization table is very long, very, very long. Yes. So 180 months, 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you guys remember, class, from last week lesson, you don't have to do this manually. What you can do is actually only highlight 1 and 2, for instance, and the green dot here, you click it until you get, okay, until you get 180. Here, okay, you'll notice 180, so you stop. There you go. You get until 180. So this is your loan amortization table, all right? 1 until, okay, 180 here. It's very long. Yes, imagine if it is for 35 years, it will be very, very long, 420. And I'll show you later. You might be surprised actually. You will be surprised actually. Because even though it's very long, in order for you to prepare this table, sometimes it takes you less than 5 minutes actually. That's the beauty of Excel. Because by using technology, we cut time, effort, so it is more efficient actually. So the beginning amount, remember class, this is your original loan amount, all right? So use equal sign. So you can go to the different sheet, okay? And click on the loan amount, 500,000 ringgit here. So this is the beginning amount, right? The original loan amount, click and then click enter. There you go, you get 500,000 ringgit. What about the payment? The payment, all right? Okay, don't forget, go to the previous sheet. Here, 3,333 ringgit 95 cent, and then click enter. There you go, you get the payment amount. And if you guys remember class, for the payment amount here, okay, so you want it to be in decimal point, for instance, okay, 2 decimal point. So what you can do is you can highlight all this table here because these are all money. So what you can do is actually you can highlight this table until 180, okay, and then right click, format cells. Remember this is currency, for instance, 2 decimal points, yes, because cents, 80 cent, 80 cent, 20 cent, all right. And then symbol, go for RM if you want to, and you can click OK. And after that, it should be automatically updated here. 3,333 ringgit 95 cent. The same, right, from the previous sheet, 3,333 ringgit 95 cents. So for the payment amount here, payment is the only constant, meaning you have to see that out of all these elements, payment will always be the same. We need to see that for the second month, third month, fourth month, fifth month, the amount will always be the same. So yes, you can use this green dot and then you can drag, but you'll notice that it becomes 0 here. Why? Because if you guys remember Excel, when you copy the cell, it goes down. So if you click this, C36 here, C36, it goes down by 1 cell. Here, this is C37, further goes down by 2 cells, C37. So if you guys remember, when you copy the cell here, you want it to be fixed. And if you want it to be fixed, remember class, use $sign, money, all right, for the cell. So before the column and before the row, you key in the $sign. So here, before C, if you can see this, okay, let me make it bigger for you. All right. So before C, okay, here before C, shift $sign, and before 35, shift $sign as well. Then it will be fixed, and then only when you drag, it will be the same amount. And you can drag this until 180 months, yes, because payment, as I mentioned to you earlier, payment is the only constant. It will always be the same, all right? It will always be the same for every month. Alright, what about interest? How to calculate interest? So for loan amortization table, interest is actually, okay, equal sign. The interest rate, if you guys remember how much interest rate just now. Here, don't forget your R, alright? Take your R, 0.0020833 here. So click it, and then times, alright? Small star, times. You times with your beginning amount. You times with your beginning amount, and then you click enter. Okay, if you can't see this, simply means you have to go to this E and F and double click. So when you double click, you get to see the full amount here. Alright, D25. Okay, so this is your interest amount, 1,081 ringgit. Okay, where? Okay, remember from sheet number 1 here, column D25, D25 here, this is your interest rate. Always use this one. And then you times with sheet 3 here. You times with the beginning amount. Alright, you times with the beginning amount. So one more time, if I want to show you, equal sign, interest 0.0020833 here, and then shift star, you times with, you click the beginning amount, and then click enter. So that's it's your interest for the first month. But if you drag, you'll notice that it becomes 0. Why? Because one more time, if you double click, see, it becomes D26 here. Right, D26, because it goes down. Because if you guys remember here, okay, when you click this one also, 327, all right, because it goes down. So what you can do is actually, for the interest to be fixed here, don't forget, before D, use dollar sign, and then before 25, use dollar sign as well, and then click enter. And then when you drag, okay, you can drag this, okay, still it becomes 0, but when you click still fix. Why? Because this is no figure yet, so it's okay, just leave it blank. Okay, just leave it as it is first, biar dahulu. And then principal, how much is principal? Principal is very easy, payment, right, minus interest. There you go. And then don't forget double click to make it bigger. Alright, so you can make this one smaller. Alright, so principal, don't forget one more time, principal is payment minus interest, because when you pay payment to the bank, when you make payment to the bank, it consists of two elements. When you make payment to the bank, it consists of interest and principal. I repeat, when you make payment to the bank, it consists of interest and principal. Alright, these two. So how to get this one more time? This is simply your payment minus interest. And then you can drag one more time. You can just simply tarik, but you get this one. Why? Because this is still 0. So it's okay. Just leave it as it is first. Biar sahaja dulu. Alright, what about ending amount? Ending amount is your beginning amount minus principal. Beginning amount minus principal, and then you click enter. So you get 499.707 here. And as usual, you can drag one more time. Yes. But you'll get negative amount. Don't worry. Okay, don't worry. Because here, next month beginning amount is actually your ending amount from the first month. So I repeat here, beginning amount is actually ending amount from previous month. So you click this figure, and then you can drag. Okay, when you drag, there you go. Nampak tak? Can you see everything is automatically updated? Because this is your ending amount becoming beginning amount. And then interest one more time. Alright, D25, fix D25 here. D25, D25, okay, fix. And then you times with your beginning amount, yes. Principal, payment minus interest. Ending amount, beginning minus principal. So everything will be automatically updated. And then here, beginning amount. This is from ending amount from previous year. So what you can do now is actually, let's see the magic. So you can simply drag until 180 months. So that's why I mentioned to you, it takes not that long actually. It takes not that much of time lah to complete it. So yes, it is still 0. Why? Because no figure yet. So don't worry. So what you can do, you can highlight all these 3 columns. Alright. And then one more time, magic. Let us see magic. So you can drag it until 180. Chang, chang, chang. And your loan amortization table is successful if at the end it becomes 0. What at the end here? You can see, right? You don't know what is this. So what you can do is actually you can freeze your pen, because you want to be able to see ending amount and then month here, for instance. So what you can do is actually click this cell C and 4, all right, here, because you want all the other, okay, you want to be able to look at month here and then beginning amount, whatnot. So what you can do is you can go to view here and then click freeze pins, and then when you click it, see magic, ta-dang. So when you go down, okay, you can see, okay, month and then payment, whatnot, and then when you go to the left, to the right, you can still see the month. So now, as I mentioned to you earlier, at the end, your loan amortization table is correct if at the end ending amount becomes 0, because ending amount 0, it means that you have already paid the bank everything, so no more loan, so no more outstanding amount. In Malay, tiada baki. You have already settled your loan. Semua dah bayar. You make payment for everything already. Okay? So how to freeze pin one more time? So if you don't want this, you can go to unfreeze pins. Okay, unfreeze. So you want it here because you want to be able to move around. Okay, go up, go down. So just click on this cell, one cell only, and then click freeze pins. Click it, ta-dang, and then yeah, you can go to the left, to the right, go up, go down with the months as well as the ending amount here. So now what I'm trying to show you is that principle of interest and principle of principal, because you want to know every month when you make payment to the bank, how much goes to the interest, how much go to the principal. So this is simple. So equal sign, this is for interest, right? So you take for the first month interest divided by payment, because this is for payment. So you get this, all right? So you want it to be in terms of percentage. What you can do is you highlight these cells, highlight until 180, and then right click, format cells, and then go to percentage. So when you go to percentage, click OK, and there you go. So 31.24. And then principal, one more time. This is principal amount, 2292 divided by the payment, 68. And when you add these two, you should be getting, ta-dang, 100% here at the bottom. Sum 100%, because this is percentage, right? So it should be 100%. So what you can do, one more time, highlight these two cells and then drag until until the end. And then whenever you add these two, it should be 100%. So it shows that, if you notice, when you first borrow money from the bank, okay, let me make it a little bit smaller. So when you first borrow money from the bank here, okay, during the earlier months, you pay more principal. And then as you pay more, okay, if you notice, the principal amount, it goes up, and then the interest amount, it goes down. So as you go to the next month, your interest figure will be further lowered, and then your principal amount will be further increasing. What I'm trying to tell you is that this is how bank makes money, because they charge you more interest in the earlier months. Alright, so that's how they make money. Because here, if you guys remember, you borrow how much plus just now? 500,000 ringgit. So now you want to know at the end, berapa awak bayar balik, right? How much? So what you can do is actually you can highlight the payment here. Okay, one blank cell, if you guys remember, formula auto sum. So at the end, you borrow 500,000 ringgit, but you make payment to the bank 600,000 ringgit, which is quite good lah, because interest is only 100,000 ringgit. How much interest? So what you can do is copy. You can copy, paste, paste. because it copied the formula. So here, principal, it should be the same, the original loan amount, 500,000 ringgit. Alright, it should be 500,000 ringgit. So your interest is actually 100,000 ringgit, 110.29 cent. So this is the interest rate. Okay, if you borrow money from the bank, here interest rate 2.5%. So let us look at what happened if your interest rate is 5% just now. So just change 5, click enter. Your monthly payment will change to 3,953 ringgit. Here, 3,953 ringgit. The best thing about Excel is you change one cell, everything will be automatically updated. So if you go down, okay, here, payment will be increasing. Alright, payment amount increases. So your interest is now, instead of 100,000 ringgit just now, it becomes 200,000 ringgit. So that's the impact of higher interest rate. When the interest rate is higher, you make more payment to the bank. And this is for 180 months, 15 years. What if you borrow money from the bank for 35 years? You'll notice that, okay, look now in class, for 15 years, 4,000 ringgit, almost 4,000 ringgit. But if you borrow money from the bank for 35 years, yes, the monthly payment will be lower. Here, 2,523 ringgit. Okay, let's make it the 2% just now, 2.5% just now. So it becomes 1.7 thousand ringgit, 1.787.48, alright? 1,787.48 cent, alright? So this is your monthly payment. But now you need to make it for 420 months. No longer 180 months. So for 420 months, here, no longer 180 months. So what you need to do is actually, so you need to add on until 420 months. So let us do until 420 months. Here, 420, okay. And then, everything, you can just highlight. And then drag until 420 months. And then remember, at the end, it should be 0. Whenever you get 0, it means that your loan amortization table is perfect. So now, what about payment amount? So what you can do is actually, kita nak tahu, you want to know how much we pay back to the bank. Yes, monthly payment is lower, because if you notice just now, monthly payment becomes lower. Instead of almost 4,000, now it becomes 1,787.48 cent here. But if you auto sum, now it becomes 750. It is actually more. It becomes higher actually. It becomes more actually. It becomes more. So if you borrow money from the bank for a longer period of time, basically at the end, you will pay back the bank a lot more. Lagi banyak. Alright? Okay, because just now, and then look at the interest, 250,000. Just now, 100,000 ringgit only. For the same interest rate for 15 years, 100,000 ringgit. Now it becomes 250,000 ringgit. But what if the interest rate is not 2.5? Let's say 5. So your monthly payment, 2,533. And see, your monthly, actually your interest becomes more than the principal. This is why you pay back to the bank double the amount you borrow. You borrow 500,000 ringgit, but you pay back to the bank more than that actually. Twice the amount, more than 1 million. So that's the impact of increasing interest rate and different time frame just now, alright, timing. Okay, so to make it clear, alright, so this is this is payment, PMT. In finance, PMT stands for payment. Let's say this is for 420 months just now. So let's take an impact for 180 months. So to show you the difference, okay. So what you can do, copy everything, copy and then paste. Okay, let's make it bigger. Pum 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 pum. Okay, but this is for 180 months only, so you can delete after 180 months here. Okay, after 180 months you don't want it, so you can delete. Okay, okay class, so let us look at the impact of the different timing. Okay, for instance, for 420 months just now. Okay, so 420 months, let's say for 5%. Okay, this is for 180 months, 5% as well. Okay, for 5%, if this is for 15 years, okay, 15 years, then your monthly payment will be 3,953 ringgit 97 cent. But if it is for 35 years, it is 2,523. Lower, right? Yes, lower. But at the end here, if you notice, you will make a lot more payment. 1.05 million actually, more than 1 million. But if you borrow money for only, here, for 15 years, okay, so 180 months, interest rate still the same, 5%. So what is the impact here? This is for 18 months, 180 months. So if it is for 180 months, okay, so one more time, I need to add on all here. Okay, let me clear this. So one more time, how to add on all the figures. So here, so what you can do, you can just drag, pum, 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 and then leave one cell at the bottom, auto sum. Okay. Alright, class. So the same goes with interest and principal. You can use this one also. You can just simply drag. Yes, you can simply drag up until 180 months. And then click auto sum. Or what you can do is actually, as I mentioned to you earlier just now, you can simply copy and paste, because when you copy the formula actually. So here the principal amount is 500,000 ringgit. The interest the interest is actually 200,000 ringgit if you borrow money for 15 years. But if you borrow money for 35 years, interest become 559,000 ringgit. So what I'm trying to tell you is that when you borrow money from the bank for a longer period of time, yes, your monthly commitment will be lower, monthly amount will be lower, but at the end, the total amount being paid to the bank will be higher. All right, I repeat, when you borrow money from the bank, here the impact, everything is the same here, class. All right, 500,000 ringgit, interest rate is 5% as well. 500,000 ringgit, interest rate is 5%. But one, 15 years only, the other one, 35 years. All right, so the impact is when you borrow money for a longer period of time, your interest here, see, more than the original or the principal amount. But when you borrow money from for a lower period of time, all right, for a lower period of time, yes, interest amount is actually lower. So you pay less to the bank at the end when you borrow for a shorter period of time. In this case, 15 years compared to 35 years. Okay, class? So that's the importance of knowing the impact of timing, interest rate on your loan amortization table. So at the end, your parents akan tahulah how much they pay back to the bank, for instance. Okay. So now the next thing I want to teach you guys is actually on how to print this actually. So let's say you want to print this. So what you can do here, if you notice, okay, normal, this is the view, normal, page layout, and then page break preview. So click on the page break preview. If you click it, this is how your printing will be looking at, okay? Page number 1, page number 2, so page 1, page 2. So it is not beautiful because yes, okay, because you want it to be on the same page. So what you can do is actually, you can change the layout. First thing first, layout, you can make it landscape. So when you change it to landscape, now, okay, and then you can play around with this blind. You can drag it to the end. So now this is page 1, okay, page 1. This is page 2. Easier. It is better looking lah, basically. All right. So if you want to print, for instance, control print. So here, tengok, better looking, right? But if, let's say, the original view just now, okay? So let's say orientation, portrait just now, okay. So if you want to print, control pre, for instance, okay. Here, if you notice, it is not fixed, okay? Loan AM only. And then amortization table will be on the other page. So it is not complete. So one more time, what you can do, orientation, you can change it to landscape. And then you can play around with the dots. You can drag the dots so that when you control P, there you go. Everything is on the same page. So it is going to be easier for you to read. The same goes with the formula here. For instance, if you want to print, you can go to here, page break preview. So here, all right, if you control P, so not beautiful, it looks weird. So what you can do, you can drag, and it becomes only one page, for instance. And then when you control P, that's it. Everything is on the same page. So that's how you want to print documents from Excel. All right, one more time. How to print document from Excel? Go to this button. Okay, page break preview. Then you can adjust the page number. Okay, by dragging the lines, whatnot, and then you can change the orientation. Let's say this one you want it to be portrait. Okay, no, it's not good looking. Okay, landscape. Okay, better, for instance. Okay, so that's how you can change the setting when it comes to printing documents using Microsoft Excel. And I really hope that from this week lesson, it helps you a lot in better at understanding how loan amortization works. You can share this with your parents, your friends, your siblings, so that they know what is the impact of higher interest rate. For instance, let's say your parents want to buy a house, and then your parent has few applications with Maybank, RHB, Bank Islam, for instance. So if let's say your parents want to compare interest rate, whatnot, so you can use this table and then share it with your parents, okay, to look at the impact of different, to look at the effect of different interest rate. And then what about the timing? If you borrow money for a longer period of time, yes, monthly commitment will be lower, but however, at the end, you will pay more to the bank, okay? So there are a lot of things that you have to take into consideration lah. So that's it, okay? That's all for this week. I hope you have a lot of fun learning loan amortization table as much as how I love it so much. Yes, I love it because it's very, very practical, and then it helps me a lot in deciding which bank I should go for instance. And as usual, if you have any problem, please let me know, okay? You can chat with me using WhatsApp group, for instance. And don't forget to complete this week assessment on your third individual assignment, yes, loan amortization table. All right, so I wish you all the best, and if you have questions, yes, please let me know, and I'll see you guys again next week with a new topic. Next week's lesson is about Microsoft PowerPoint, so I'll be teaching you guys on how to prepare PowerPoint slides. Okay, that's all. Bye bye.